I'd like to share with you a reading called What I Learned from My Mother by Julia Castro. I learned from my mother how to love the living, to have plenty of vases on hand in case you have to rush to the hospital, with peonies cut from the lawn, with black ants still stuck to the buds. I learned to save jars large enough to hold fruit salad for a whole grieving household, to cue home-canned pears and peaches, to slice through maroon grape skins and flick out the sexual seeds with a knife point. I learned to attend viewings even if I didn't know the deceased, to press the moist hands of the living, to look in their eyes and offer sympathy, as though I understood loss even then. I learned that whatever we say means nothing. What anyone will remember is that we came. I learned to believe I had the power to ease awful pains materially, like an angel. Like a doctor, I learned to create from another's suffering my own usefulness. And once you know how to do this, you can never refuse. To every house you enter, you must offer healing. A chocolate cake you baked yourself. The blessing of your voice, your chaste touch. I learned from my mother how to love the living. As you open your eyes, I invite you to turn and see who else is here today. If you haven't said hello to someone, you might want to right now. Is everybody okay now? I couldn't help but choose that poem. I learned from my mother how to love the living. Today is what is commercially known as Mother's Day. While reading up on Mother's Day, I found a presidential proclamation from you-know-who declaring that it's Mother's Day. And I thought, who came up with that idea in the White House? I was really quite stunned. Would you like to hear what he had to say? No. This is from the White House. No. All right, I won't. By popular vote. Let me just say that there are multiple ways of experiencing this day and thinking about this day and thinking about what mothering itself means. In the United Kingdom and many of the Commonwealth countries, there is no such thing as Mother's Day. It's Mothering Sunday. Mothering Sunday is an experience that dates back to the Middle Ages in the Catholic Church in its formative years. On that day, certainly in the UK, workers were given the day off so that they could go to church, preferably the church in which they had been baptized, or the church in which they had grown up, whether they'd been baptized there or not. And it was like going to Mother Church, which is why it was called Mothering Sunday. You were experiencing a mothering when you went to that church, which presumably had tended to you and given you some kind of spiritual nourishment. It's still celebrated on the fourth Sunday of Lent, always on the fourth Sunday of Lent. So because Lent moves from year to year, the date moves as well, but that's when it occurs. In this country, Mother's Day is something very different. I'm wondering if any of you remember how it started here. Does anybody remember? It dates back to, can you remember? Do you want to say something?
No, I'll let you.
It dates back to the Civil War and the deaths of soldiers on both sides, and the feeling that people needed to have public expressions of grief and compassion for those who had lost children. And it went through many, many different changes over time, eventually being claimed, shall we say, by a woman named Anna Jarvis, whose mother, Anne Jarvis, had been very busy with it. She launched officially in 1908 with a worship service at St. Andrew's Methodist Church in West Virginia. This was a Sunday, the second Sunday in May, always, in which Mother's Day would be a celebration honoring the mother of the family or an individual, as well as motherhood, material bonds, and the influence of mothers in society. There are flowers often associated with Mother's Day, and May, of course, is a wonderful time for flowers, as is April. And the flower of choice that I keep finding referred to is the pink carnation. Personally, I can't stand carnations. I like pink, but I would prefer pink roses or pink tulips if someone were giving these. Pink meaning the softness, the color that we associate with girl babies, because that's always how they're depicted, dressed in pink. So, on Mother's Day, children give cards and gifts, and hopefully they perform acts of kindness. Some of these involve things like making breakfast in bed for mom who hates eating in bed, but nevertheless accepts the tray with a great thank you, that's so sweet. I don't know how it was for you, but Mother's Day in my family was an intensely fraught experience. I had a very, very critical mother who was not good at being gracious, at saying thank you and promises. Sweet of you, thank you. No. That was never what you heard. What you saw was the face. And you could hear her thinking, really? Another ashtray? Another apron? This is Mother's Day? And so my brothers and sisters and I did not look forward to it. How about all of you? Did you celebrate Mother's Day when you were younger? As children? Would someone like to say something about an experience doing that? Was it always the same thing every Mother's Day? That'd be quiet. Thinking.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either.
Celebrating Mother's Day.
In church.
Although, I don't.
In church,
In church.
you went to Mother's Day, when you went on Mother's Day, Sunday school in church, you gotta.
This was Catholic church for you?
No, Baptist.
Baptist church.
You got a pink carnation.
Oh,
If your mother
carnation.
was alive, you got a white one if your mother was dead.
If your mother was alive?
You got a pink one, and
If she
in
had
your
passed.
case, your mother was, you got a white one.
Oh, that's like that.
And it's a carnation, it was always a carnation.
Yes. Shit flowers, my daughter calls them. Did I say that? For my 60th birthday, which is in February, it's usually terrible weather, I came home to find a huge glass bowl filled with purple irises and red roses and tulips. It's the most spectacular bowl of flowers I have ever had. And I said, where did these come from? And she said, well, I walked downtown to the florist. It's in the snow, literally a mile in the snow downhill to get to the florist. And her best friend was the florist's daughter. And she said, it's my mom's birthday. Could I have some flowers for her? And the florist, whose name has just gone out of my head, created this enormous arrangement for Zoe and said, Zoe, take these home to your mom. Free. And I was just blown away when I saw this. I said something to Zoe about them, and she said, no shit flowers for you, mother. Does anybody here love carnations?
I do.
And I'm just insulting you. You do, Linda.
I do, yeah. I like the smell of them, that spicy.
Yeah. They do have a great smell.
Yeah.
I just think it's weird that they're dyed all kinds of colors. You see the blue ones.
That is strange.
That I find kind of a perversion of a carnation. Irene, you like them. Did you say yes?
Yeah.
Something special about them?
Same thing, I like the smell.
The smell.
They're perennials, they come up, every year.
They're often used as what do you call it, boutonnieres or something, for men's suits for prom and other occasions. So let's think about this word mothering. Mothering. I went to the dictionary to look up some terms about mothers. I'd like to read you what my dictionary said. It finally gets to mothering. Mother, akin to the German Mutter, or the Dutch Mutter, a woman who has borne a child, especially, a woman as she is related to her child or children, a stepmother, an adoptive mother, a mother-in-law, the female parent of a plant or animal. I never think of my plants as mothers, but maybe they do. That which gives birth to something is the origin or source of something or nurtures in the manner of a mother. A woman having the responsibility and authority of a mother. Mother superior. I have jokingly been referred to as Reverend Mother. And at one point I said, well, mothering is my first job title. Reverend is the second. The mothering part is by far the most important one in my mind. Mother superior, yes. An elderly woman used as a title of affectionate respect. I'll have to try that with all my friends who are older than me, because I'm pretty old. And then it tells you a slang word referring to mother, and I'm not going to repeat it here out of respect. Out of respect for all mothers. It actually defines it here in the dictionary. Derived or learned from one's mother, as an adjective like that of a mother. To be the mother, give birth to, often used figuratively, to look after or care for as a mother does, or as we hope mothers do. The motherboard, I love this. I don't know how it got that name. The main interconnecting circuit board in an electronic device. Yes, I'm not going to mother my motherboard, but I know it's there. Mother country, as in the motherland, as opposed to the fatherland. Mother goose. Does anybody remember Mother Goose? That's from quite a while ago, isn't it? Mother Goose and her stories. The imaginating creator of a collection of nursery rhymes first published perhaps as early as 1765. Motherhood, the state of being a mother. The mother house, a monastery or other religious house from which one or more additional religious houses have been founded, the headquarters of a religious community. Then there's Mother Hubbard, you remember her? Old Mother Hubbard, yes. The mother image, a person substituted in one's mind for one's mother, and often the object of emotions felt toward the mother. Mothering, the work or skill of a mother in raising a child or children. And then there's that favorite one, mother-in-law. Why are there so many jokes about mothers-in-law? Any thoughts on that? Clash? Clash over what?
Anything.
Anything.
They don't like who their child married.
Yeah. I think this is a fairly common experience, isn't it? That people have, there's some tension there as to who is the mother superior in the relationship with the family. The motherland, the mother lode, the main load or vein of ore in a particular region. Motherly, of a mother having traits considered typical of mothers, kind, protective, nurturing. Mother Nature. My daughter told me once that she knew how Jesus had been created. Mother Nature had married Jesus. I thought that was quite interesting as a theological statement. Mother of pearl, mother of vinegar, mother tongue. I've never heard of a father tongue. Have you?
Yeah.
It's only Mother tongue that has ever said it. As though that's your original, your native language, right?
Yeah.
Oh no. Mother wit, native intelligence, common sense. Aha, never heard of father wit. Now, mothering comes in all shapes and sizes and styles. Some women literally become mothers. Some cannot become mothers. Some do not want to be mothers. Some become adoptive mothers and become mother substitutes for others who do not have their own mothers. Then there are the mothers-in-law, the grandmothers, the aunts who act as mothers. Teachers and mentors are often mother figures for people. So there are many ways to understand how mothering can be spread through a culture in terms of who's doing it. When we think of mothers, I tend to think of nurturing. I like to think that mothers are nurturing, that they're kind, caring, looking out for the best interests of their child, whoever, whatever, however the child is. Fathers, on the other hand, do we ever talk about fathering? Not in the same way. Yeah, Sandy, we should. Yeah, typically that term is only used with regard to insemination, to being the seed, load, biology 101 here. We're talking about the fathers as being half of the child, right? The biological half of the child. We don't talk about fathering in terms of the caring part of it, which is really unfortunate. I think you're referring to this, Sandy, yes? Albert Brooks, whose work I quoted several weeks ago in another talk, said that men have three major tasks in life as far as he is concerned. They are procreators, as in biological parents. They are protectors of their families, their relations, those who are important to them, and they are providers. Those are the three main functions that fathers have in this culture. I don't know if that's true everywhere, but it certainly seems to be the case here. Mothers, on the hand, are nurturers, feeders, emotionally nurturing and physically nurturing. And they are the ones who bear the child, literally bear the child, right? They have the great capability to bear the child. There is a picture in my house that I inherited from my mother. It's a Japanese drawing of a woman. You're looking at the picture and you're looking at her back. There's no detail in it except the shape of her shoulders, the V that comes down to her waist, and the curve that goes out where her hips are. But you know, if you've ever seen a woman's body, that that is a woman. There's no name, there's no detail, it's not shaded, but you know that, do you not? Because of the differences in the female human body and the male human body. By and large, they're quite distinct. Muscular, skeletal, shapes, and which is why a doctor can tell right away, looking at a body, shall we say, a deceased body, if it's a male or a female, because they're looking for particular indicators of gender, of sex, let's put it that way. Nowadays, we find ourselves in a world in which people are crossing over in numbers we probably never imagined. I don't know about you, but I know a lot of transgender people. And in almost every congregation I've served, there have been transgender members. And in every case so far, they have men who have transitioned to become women. I've only seen one woman who was a teenage girl who transitioned to become a boy. For some reason, it goes the other way. I'm wondering how this is going to shape mothering. How is it going to shape mothering and relationships? And now, Sandy, you mentioned the Pope. This Pope, while he's very progressive in some matters, is not so progressive when it comes to gender reassignment and gay relationships. We know that. That's already been talked about on the news, that he is not in favor of same-sex marriages raising children, and probably would rather not have to get into church teachings around gender reassignment issues. But we are surrounded by this. And of course now we have a president who's threatening people along these lines. You know, that I find that very scary myself. It's your body, it's your decision. It's your body that's going to be your body for the rest of your life. And if you can't control your own body, who can? And what can you control? You know, there are many ways to be mothers. There are many ways to be fathers. I don't know if any of you are watching the HBO series, The Last of Us. Is anybody watching that? You know what I'm going to refer to in that? Ellie. Ellie, the main character, is a girl who might be, 18 or 19 by now. When the story started, she was much younger. She is very open about being gay. She's fallen in love with another girl who's on the run. They're escaping from, I don't know how to describe this, zombie-like infected people who are killing people who are not infected. And her new girlfriend tells Ellie that she's pregnant. And Ellie looks at her. Really? Are you sure? Yeah. And she pulls up one pregnancy test after another. I did 5 of them. Yep, I'm sure I'm pregnant. And Ellie looks at her and says, at this priceless moment, she said, I'm going to be a dad. And I'm thinking to myself, what a brilliant way to put that. The girl partner, who is not the biological anything of this, I'm going to be a dad. I thought, you know, I never thought about that. What a great way to celebrate that. So we think about who's fathering, who's mothering. Are we getting enough of it? Are we passing it around? Are there people in your life who could use a little mothering attention or a little fathering attention that you could share with them? It's never too late to do that. It's never too late to do that. It's like that poem, Relax, that ends with that line about the woman who goes down the vine and ends up where the strawberry is. The mice are eating the vine. Yep. You'll be lonely. Oh, taste how sweet and tart the bread juice is. How the tiny seeds crunch beneath your teeth. There are ways to find happiness in the midst of whatever one's experiences are. Parenting, receiving parenting, and offering it to others. And I cannot urge you enough to pass it on to others. Because, as I've said before, each of us needs to be loved. And hopefully each of us has the capacity to love others. We are not all parents, or substitute parents, or parents by extension, or voluntarily parents, but indeed we are all the children of people. Some of them who've had a talent for taking care of us, some of them who had no ability taking care of us. It's a toss-up. It's like that poem that Alan Bass wrote, Relax. Bad things are going to happen. But so are the good things, because when you taste those strawberries down there at the bottom of the vine, there's a moment of bliss. Choose the bliss.